We have now traveled 1.6 miles down from the North Kaibab trailhead and are well below the Coconino sandstone cliffs, and we can now, from a distance, clearly see just what the Roaring Springs Fault has done to them. The path of both of the fault lines are apparent to the left and right of the giant block of sandstone that has been dropped down within the Roaring Springs Graben, and we can see the break in the cliffs that the trail takes advantage of. The North Kaibab Trail is now passing through the Hermit Shale formation. The Hermit Shale, the reddish-brown rock peeking out in the spots where it isn't covered by vegetation, was formed about 280 million years ago when this area was buried by sediments deposited by rivers in alluvial fans and floodplains. The contrast to the Coconino sandstone, the formation above the Hermit Shale, could hardly be starker. The Coconino was formed by sand, drifting into huge dunes within a vast desert some 270 million years ago. Look at just how sharp the boundary between the Hermit and the Coconino is. It looks like the climate must have transformed in the blink of an eye from a wet climate supporting large silt-filled rivers to a desert as dry and vast as the Sahara Desert is today. In reality, the change took place over millions of years, but we do see something similar happening on the Earth today. Over the last few million years, the landmass that includes India has been smashing into Asia, creating the Himalayan mountains. As the Himalayas rose, one theory states, they disrupted wind patterns that brought rain to northern Africa, transforming northern Africa into the Saharan desert that it is today. Perhaps something similar happened 275 million years ago to transform this area from the alluvial plains of the Hermit Shale to the desert of the Coconino. The Hermit Shale, being much softer and erodible than the Coconino, forms slopes below the Coconino cliffs. In some places, like here, the Hermit Shale forms a hanging valley, sandwiched between cliffs above and below. There is a hanging valley in the Hermit Shale very much like this along the Hermit Trail off the South Rim. From the panorama spot up above here, at the base of the Coconino, we looked down on this area and talked about how we could see the life zone changing as we dropped deeper into the canyon. But the canyon is in fact full of tiny microclimates. Here we see two healthy spruce trees, even though we are now far below the colder Canadian life zone where we typically find them above the North Rim. Here, in the very deepest, coolest part of the hanging valley, with the least amount of sun, the spruce have found a small niche where they can grow and thrive. Heading back up the North Kaibab Trail from here, we head up the gentle grade within the Hermit Shale to a panorama spot just past the base of the Coconino, with a fine view looking back down at the hanging valley. Heading down the trail, we descend the Hermit Shale slopes down to the Supai Tunnel, where it is as if we pass through a wormhole into a completely different world.